We have now is not the Harry we had then. This is not the Harry of the Invictus.
Ignoring the hell that they've put their families through, let me run you through my mood board. It's called 7 Years.
Hollywood rolled out the glitz, the flashing cameras, the velvet ropes, but Harry wanted more than glitz. He wanted royal treatment, and when Geeka said no, the drama exploded faster than anyone could have imagined. The Duke didn't just sip his champagne and mingle politely. No, he stormed out like a thunderbolt, faster than Meghan walking away from a disastrous script meeting or a dinner that went south.
That he has believed in, to his family, to the monarchy, to the country, to his grandmother.
The kind of exit that makes everyone whisper, did that really just happen?
Start with the wedding. We all loved it. I punched the air when I heard he was with a mixed-race lady. I thought Diana would be so proud. They had the world at their feet.
Harry wasn't on the guest list as a nominee, presenter, or honoree. His presence was meant to be low-key, subtle, a friend of the industry, as Hollywood politely calls it. Translation: a familiar name that adds luster to the event without stealing the spotlight. But insiders say Harry had other ideas, bigger ideas, and they didn't involve blending in.
His entire past, and what we have now, we've got two Harrys.
The drama reportedly started days before the ceremony. Harry's team, meticulous and persistent, sent Geeka a formal note with one unusual request: address him as His Royal Highness Prince Harry. For anyone outside the palace, that might sound minor, just a mouthful, a nod to tradition. But under the terms of the 2020 mega site agreement, both Harry and Meghan had agreed to stop using their HRH titles in any official or commercial setting. That wasn't a suggestion, it was a rule with teeth.
Like Shakespeare, except that they're totally unreconciled. And whereas Shakespeare's Prince Hal abandons his
GALECA, known for its unapologetic stance on inclusivity, equality and fairness, held its ground. They politely but firmly informed Harry's team. No HRH, no exceptions. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. For Harry, insiders say, that wasn't just protocol. It was a challenge, a direct affront, a declaration of war, silent but deafening.
Which started with a global interview with superstar Oprah Winfrey, whilst Prince Philip was on his deathbed.
Harry's team reportedly pushed back, hinting it wasn't mere ego. It was respect, heritage, tradition. GALECA didn't flinch. And that, dear readers, is when the powder keg lit itself.
Abandoned his good side for this new bad, whinging, wailing, destructive.
The night of the ceremony began smoothly, or so everyone thought. Harry arrived in a midnight black tuxedo, perfectly tailored, the kind of outfit that screams confidence, charisma, and control. Cameras flashed, guests whispered, a few raised eyebrows, and for a brief, shining moment, it seemed like the royal rebel was ready to play the game, ready to charm the room with poise. Cool, composed, commanding. Then came the introduction. The host stepped onto the stage, greeted the audience with charm, charisma, and a practiced smile. And as the camera panned to the second row, the MC announced, "Please welcome Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex."
I think we need a stronger word that you've been using. This man is a traitor to everything that he has believed.
Notice something missing? Yep, no. Royal Highness. And that omission hit harder than a palace snub. Witnesses report Harry's grin evaporated instantly, the easy charm replaced by a jaw so tight you could practically hear the grind of his teeth. His eyes, flashing barely contained fury, locked onto a nearby aide. A whisper, sharp and clipped, was exchanged. Then, like a scene ripped straight from a Hollywood script written for maximum drama, he stood up mid-segment and stormed out. No wave, no smile, no explanation, just a royal exit that left heads turning, jaws dropping, and whispers rippling across the room like wildfire. One producer described it perfectly. It was like watching a king throw a fit because someone forgot to bow.
British press for the interpretation, even though pretty much everyone picked up on it, and he even allowed the accusation against his
When Harry disappeared through those doors, the ceremony erupted, not with applause, but confusion. Did the Duke of Sussex really just walk out over a title? Was that planned? By the end of the event, the whispers had grown into full-blown chatter, and within hours, the story exploded online.
With the new gospel, the new heresy of woke and of mental well-being. It's a gospel which is purely of the self. It discards...
Social media offered zero sympathy. This is Hollywood, not Buckingham Palace.
The Queen went to her grave with this hanging over her legacy. They had the Netflix series whinging about how they'd been treated, branding the UK Empire 2.0.
Tweets poured in. You renounced royal duties, Netflix deals and perks. Pick a lane, Harry. You can't have it both ways. Even journalists covering the after-party couldn't hold back.
Which is where most people left it, about the importance of a relationship between child and father, which is odd because neither her or Harry seemed to want one with theirs. We had that sycophantic podcast archetypes, where Meghan...
One A-list actor reportedly quipped during the post-event gathering, Geeka just did what the palace couldn't. They told Harry no, and he stormed. Instead of being dragged for disrespect, GALECA earned applause for standing firm in an industry infamous for coddling celebrity egos. Their refusal to bend became a badge of honour.
It didn't take Spotify long to see through her and call them effing grifters. Meghan lost the contract.
Meanwhile, Harry left the awards empty-handed, bruised in reputation, and with the beginnings of a meme empire ready to erupt. And Meghan, her absence was glaring. No red carpet stroll, no flowing gown, no hand-in-hand photo op. She stayed home, tucked away in Montecito, sipping green juice, scrolling headlines while her husband waged a war of titles in a Hollywood ballroom. Was this absence a coincidence? Insiders say no.
The Americans finally seeing the light, and we've had numerous...
Meghan, ever the strategist, likely sensed the brewing storm. With whispers of tension between the Sussexes and major studios already circulating, she avoided a potential PR disaster, keeping her brand intact. While Harry burned bridges, Meghan played the long game. The result? One half of the Sussex brand looked composed, calm and controlled, while the other became a walking headline for entitlement. This wasn't just about a title, it was about identity.
Other Winds Fests, faux royal tours, my favourite one was in Nigeria, where they had to stand for the national...
4 years after dramatically abandoning royal duties for freedom and privacy, Harry still seems trapped in a limbo of a life he doesn't fully understand. He's no longer a working royal, yet in his mind, royal reverence should never expire. Unfortunately, the world disagrees. In the UK, he's seen as a deserter, a man who swapped centuries of tradition for tabloid deals and Netflix cash in the US. He's becoming a punchline, a celebrity clinging to titles while claiming to reject them. Hollywood embraced him at first, dazzled by the royal mystique. But now, that sheen is wearing thin.
Brothers, look at this list of absolute trivia, which is, on the scale of human wrong, they're not even molehills. They're barely specks of dust. And they're not transformed into mountains. They're transformed into mountain ranges, lunar structures.
One entertainment journalist summed it up brutally. Harry wants to keep the perks of the palace without the responsibility. Hollywood just reminded him it doesn't work that way.
What I feel, I don't know what you feel, I feel contempt.
Yes, I have no sympathy whatsoever. I think we've directed much of our ire.
This meltdown wasn't an isolated slip. It exposed a deeper struggle. Relevance in a world where crowns don't count, and every public misstep widens the gap between who he was and who he wants to be. By sunrise, Harry's royal temper tantrum dominated the internet. Paparazzi photos of his storm out plastered every tabloid front page. "Title tantrum!" screamed the Daily Mail. "No crown, no courtesy, no chill." Page 6 and Twitter naturally went wild. Hashtags like #TantrumKing and #Prince of Entitlement trended globally. But the fallout didn't stop there. Analysts dissected every move, every expression. Some said this was a symptom of a deeper psychological struggle, the ongoing tension between wanting freedom and craving recognition.
Meghan, over the course of the last couple of years, I think he really is the problem in his family. And you're suggesting, David, that in more robust times, the Tower of London might have been...
Former palace aides pointed out that even 4 years out, the identity of being royal still lingers. It's an inescapable part of someone like Harry.
You get yourself into a dispute. There's a good principle of law, de minimis.
Yeah.
Don't dispute about nothing.
Yeah.
These are nothings. I think the silence is correct for the very simple reason.
Meanwhile, Hollywood insiders whispered about behind-the-scenes tension that few ever see. It wasn't just about an HRH moment. It was about status, access, and control. Producers and event coordinators reported Harry had been impossible to accommodate, asking for seating changes, lighting adjustments, and even subtle changes to the script. Every request seemed reasonable on paper, but combined, they painted a picture of a man used to having the world bend around him.
More effectively than Harry.
That is true.
Every time he gives an interview, now, of course, he contradicts him.
And yet, Meghan's absence highlighted another story entirely. Her decision to stay home wasn't cowardice. It was calculated. She's built a brand around poise, power, and perception. A public tantrum by her husband would have derailed years of careful image crafting. While Harry's storm out generated memes, her controlled absence reinforced her as the figure in command of optics, strategy, and influence.
Times, it wouldn't have been knocked into a dog bowl. It would have been drowned in a butt of Malmsey wine. Which is, but again, if you look at the House of York, it's
Contrast was striking. Harry, a walking headline. Meghan, the strategist in the shadows. Together, they had built a brand. But this night revealed the fragile balance between chaos and control. In the UK, tabloids framed Harry as the royal who left tradition behind, only to demand the perks of its recognition. In the US, critics questioned his judgment. How could someone voluntarily give up royal duties and still insist on being treated like royalty in Hollywood? Social media lit up with sharp jokes, viral clips, and relentless commentary. Every frame of Harry's storm out was dissected, every glance and sigh analysed. And for the industry itself, GALECA became a case study in holding the line.
Knocked into a dog bowl, it would have been drowned in a butt of Malmsey wine. Which is, but again, if you look at the House of York, it's exactly the same thing. It's a dispute.
In Hollywood, where celebrity egos often rule, refusing to bend for a royal and surviving the backlash was practically unheard of. For organisers, it was a win, protocol over pandering. For Harry, it was a public lesson that prestige doesn't always translate into entitlement. By the end of the week, analysts, journalists, and social media pundits agreed. Harry had misjudged the landscape. Hollywood is glamorous, yes, but it's also ruthless. Fame and respect don't automatically come with a royal pedigree, especially when the title is voluntarily surrendered. The narrative had grown beyond a single awards night. It was a cultural moment, a story about identity, entitlement, and the clash between old-world royal habits and modern celebrity dynamics.
Yeah. And again, what's come out of all of this is a sort of simmering teenage resentment. We've suddenly got those fights.
Harry's desire for recognition, juxtaposed with Meghan's absence and strategic patience, made the event an unforgettable spectacle. By sunrise, Harry's royal temper tantrum was not just a headline. It was a global trending story, a case study in entitlement, expectation, and the limits of celebrity privilege. Paparazzi photos plastered every front page. "Title tantrum!" screamed the Daily Mail. No crown, no courtesy, no chill. Page 6 and Twitter naturally had a field day. Hashtags like #TantrumKing and #Prince of Entitlement trended worldwide, cementing the night as a turning point in the public perception of the Duke of Sussex. The memes were merciless. One viral post showed a toddler in a plastic crown stomping away from a birthday party with the caption, "Harry leaving GCCA because nobody curtsied. Ouch." Even serious outlets weighed in. CNN, The Guardian. Op-eds questioned Harry's relevance in Hollywood, dissecting his every move, tone, and eyebrow raise. What was supposed to be a low-key night at an LGBTQ Critics Award show transformed into a cultural litmus test, and Harry spectacularly failed. Instead of commanding respect, he became a cautionary tale, a glaring example of the dangers of clinging to a title when the world has already moved on. If Harry thought his royal charm could sway Hollywood, think again. His dramatic exit didn't just fuel gossip, it created tension with the very people who could shape the next chapters of his post-royal career.
Religious conversion isn't quite complete, and every so often the honest old Harry pops up and says, but actually, me grandma weren't a terrible racist. I rather like Susan Hussey.
Studio executives, A-list producers, and influential agents were present, champagne flutes in hand, observing every move, calculating every glance. When Harry stormed out, the judgment quickly morphed into mockery. One heavyweight producer reportedly muttered, "We don't bow to kings here, especially unemployed ones." Savage. In Tinseltown, power is built on merit, charisma, and results, not inherited titles. Even Oscar winners hustle relentlessly for roles, demanding royal treatment in a room full of self-made stars. Tone-deaf at best, career suicide at worst. Word travels fast in Hollywood. Whispers that started as curiosity quickly turned into cautionary tales. Executives began rethinking collaborations. Endorsement deals that once seemed like guaranteed wins suddenly looked risky. Nobody wants to work with a diva duke. That's harsh, but in an industry obsessed with talent and optics, reality bites. Some might dismiss this as typical celebrity drama, but the timing made it far more consequential. This wasn't just a night out gone wrong, it was a full-blown brand crisis.
Well, the perfectly decent, not very bright boy, a bit physical, who used to be sorted out by the army, and suddenly, do you know what?
Well,
he's married his mother.
yeah, and
The Sussex brand was already under scrutiny. Their Spotify deal had ended. The Netflix partnership, once seen as a pillar of their post-royal empire, was rumoured to be hanging by a thread. Public sympathy, their most valuable currency, was evaporating faster than champagne at an Oscars after-party. Insiders whispered about stalled sponsorship deals, PR advisors quietly backing away, and cautious studio executives reluctant to take risks. One Hollywood strategist put it bluntly, "You can't market a man who melts down every time his ego isn't stroked. You need stability. You need credibility. You need to play the room, not rage against it." And here's the kicker. Polls conducted after the event revealed over 70% of respondents sided with GCCA. That's not just bad optics. It's a brand crisis. In Hollywood,
Conversion. There is somebody who converts. There is no doubt it's she. She has acted as his priestess into this new absurd Californian religion.
Yeah.
But what I think we should
likability is everything. A single public meltdown can erase years of goodwill. And for Harry, whose post-royal career relies heavily on perception, that's a devastating loss. The irony is impossible to ignore. For years, Harry and Meghan positioned themselves as champions of independence, rejecting titles, leaving royal duties behind, and loudly proclaiming their escape from the constraints of monarchy. They sold a story of humility, modernity, and equality, a narrative of breaking with tradition. Then came the Dorian Awards, and there, in front of a room full of Hollywood liberals who care little about centuries-old protocols, Harry decided his hill to die on was 3 letters: HRH.
seat of the royal limousine, transformed, played in front of us, reenacted with added bitterness. And I do think, actually, I'm sorry, I do...
In a world where no one curtsies, no one bows, and no one cares about royal history, he demanded recognition. At its core, this isn't about an award show. It's about a man at war with himself, a prince who left the monarchy to escape the weight of his crown, only to discover he can't live without its shine. By the time Harry exited the ceremony, whispers and camera flashes had transformed his temper tantrum into a cultural phenomenon. Social media exploded. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all lit up with videos, memes, and commentary. Hashtag Tantrum King. Hashtag Prince of Entitlement. Hashtag RH Who. By sunrise, Harry's royal rage had become the global spectacle everyone couldn't stop talking about. Even Hollywood insiders weighed in. One A-list actor reportedly joked at a post-event gathering, "We should all bow next time, or maybe just hand him a crown and a limo." Others were less amused. A few executives quietly reconsidered upcoming collaborations, worried that partnering with a temperamental former royal could backfire. Analysts dissected the night like a case study. Some argued Harry's meltdown wasn't just impulsive, it was symptomatic of deeper identity struggles.
Of self-absorption. But you know what, Nigel? What struck me about the whole thing was everything is so bloody petty.
4 years after stepping away from royal duties, he's neither fully royal nor fully a Hollywood figure. He's trapped in limbo, straddling two worlds and struggling to find relevance. His exit was a public manifestation of that internal conflict. Meanwhile, Meghan's absence told its own story. She didn't appear on the red carpet, didn't grace the stage, didn't wade into the chaos. Instead, she stayed in Montecito, calm, composed, sipping green juice, scrolling headlines like the rest of us. Insiders suggest it was a calculated decision. Meghan understood that a public display of fury would have jeopardized the careful construction of their post-royal brand. By staying invisible, she controlled the narrative, while Harry dominated the headlines in all the wrong ways. The contrast couldn't have been more stark. Harry, the headline-grabbing storm; Meghan, the strategist in the shadows. Together, they are a brand, but their approaches couldn't be more different. Harry's outburst revealed impulsiveness and ego. Meghan's absence displayed calculated mastery over optics and perception. The night highlighted the precarious balance between drama and strategy, chaos and control. In the UK, tabloids framed Harry as the royal who left tradition behind, only to demand recognition for what he abandoned. In the US, critics questioned his judgment. How can someone reject titles, cash in on Hollywood deals, and still insist on palace-style respect? Social media exploded with viral clips and sharp commentary, dissecting every frame of Harry's exit. Every gesture, every sigh, every glance was analysed and memed. Hollywood insiders whispered about backstage drama few outsiders could see. It wasn't just an HRH issue, it was about access, prestige, and control. Producers reportedly noted that Harry had made several subtle requests, seating adjustments, lighting tweaks, even minor script changes. Each seemed reasonable, but collectively they painted a picture of entitlement that didn't sit well with industry veterans. And yet, Meghan's absence reinforced the optics lesson. Control the narrative, avoid unnecessary spectacle, and let strategy dictate perception. While Harry burned bridges, Meghan maintained composure. The result was a striking visual and symbolic contrast. The walking headline versus the unseen strategist. Harry's exit became more than a story. It became a global discussion about entitlement, identity, and relevance. Analysts suggested this might mark a turning point in the Sussex brand's journey. Paparazzi photos flooded tabloids. Memes went viral. Hashtags like #TantrumKing and #PrinceOfEntitlement trended worldwide.
Much accused a member of the royal family of being a racist. Fast forward a few years later, after putting them through hell, Harry denied racism within the royal family and called it unconscious.
Every article framed Harry's storm out as a cautionary tale for royals entering Hollywood. For Harry, it wasn't just a night of embarrassment. It was a lesson in the harsh realities of fame without earned authority. Hollywood doesn't care about legacy. It cares about talent, influence, and likability. Crowns mean nothing without performance, professionalism, and respect. Harry's demand for royal treatment was a stark reminder that privilege doesn't automatically translate into career security. By the end of the week, commentators agreed. Harry miscalculated. His tantrum reinforced the perception that he clings to a title while rejecting the responsibilities that come with it. His exit wasn't an isolated incident. It was emblematic of a larger struggle with identity, relevance, and control. The night at the Dorian Awards will be remembered not for the accolades, but for a very public lesson in Hollywood reality. Crowns don't count here. Titles don't guarantee respect. Even royal blood can't substitute for credibility, talent, and strategy. So, what now? Does Harry double down, demanding HRH recognition at every turn? Or will he finally acknowledge that in America, crowns aren't currency? One thing is clear. The Sussex brand faces a critical crossroads. Public goodwill, their most valuable asset, is evaporating faster than champagne. Sponsorship deals, streaming partnerships, and Hollywood collaborations are under scrutiny. Every decision, every public display, carries consequences. As the dust settled on the Dorian Awards, the final truth crystallized. Harry's quest for respect might just be the very thing destroying it. Sound off in the comments. Do you think this is the Sussex brand's breaking point, or just another messy chapter in a saga that refuses to end? Hollywood sent a clear message: crowns don't count here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want more royal drama, insider gossip, and Hollywood breakdowns. Comment below. Can Harry bounce back, or is the Sussex brand finally on thin ice?